Hey, did you come here often?
Oh,
Yeah,
fuck's sake.
I thought so. Yeah, cool. Great. Yeah, no, I'm really happy to see you here. Yeah. All right. Cool. Welcome to Transformers Weekly, Australian Transformers Weekly even. We can do worldwide Transformers Weekly. It's okay. We are your first stop and your last best hope for Transformers news in Australia. This is episode 141. We're recording live on February 9th, 2018. And if you're really nice, I might sit next to you at the bar and get you a drink.
Only if you're nice, mate.
We learnt our languages from the World Wide Web.
I also forgot to say in this episode we'll be talking about stuff. That's fine.
I was waiting for it.
Yeah, I know.
Do it now. I'll put it in.
No, it's fine. The intro's finished, right? Is the intro finished? Production. The intro is finished. Yeah. Good, because I was so distracted by how good looking you are that I forgot to tell you that in this episode we will be talking about an unreleased Generations Cup. The possibility of one. The body of a third-party Bruticus takes shape, and it might end up on one of those shows where you talk about body image issues. We compare 3 third-party cliffjumpers. There's 2 that are new this week, and there's a little bit more. I'm Jason. Joining me this week, we have Brad coming to us from his undisclosed location, from his bunker in his undisclosed location in central Victoria.
Greetings. How are we doing this week?
We are doing just swimmingly. We're way more awake than last week.
Apart from the heat, again.
Yeah,
go away.
It's been pretty hot up in Sydney as well. Max, welcome back to the show. It's only been a week, hasn't it?
Yeah, it's been about as long as it's been for you.
It has.
I know it's hard. You get separation anxiety sometimes.
I get confused over whether or not we have Max or Mikey on the show with us every week because your names both start with M.
I can manage not to do it with Jason and John. You know, I feel like we can all try and make a bit of an effort here.
There's no John.
Yet.
There's no John until daylight savings finishes.
That is absolutely correct. Only after daylight savings, when he can come out under cover of darkness, is there a John. All right,
Max, how is that battery going?
Battery? It hasn't made the air conditioning any better.
This is the part of the podcast where we give shit to Max for living in South Australia, where his entire state is powered by a Tesla battery.
Oh no, I'm going somewhere with this for once.
Go on.
Is it in a world shooting a battery into space?
In a world where a man can flirt money and just throw it away and shooting a vehicle into space for it to head towards the sun and maybe come back in 1 billion years' time. I posit this question or this theory now. In 1 million years or whatever time it takes to slingshot around and come back, Earth is in desperate turmoil. They need a element that is no longer available on this planet. We are facing our destruction.
Is it unobtainium? Please say it's unobtainium.
It's lithium from the batteries. And all of a sudden, this rocket returns, delivering this 1 million year old Tesla car that is now.
Can you cut to my screen, please?
I'm doing that right now. There it is.
So not only is Max's state entirely powered by a Tesla battery, but we're verging dangerously on. We're dangerously on the verge of becoming a tech news podcast here at this point. But Elon Musk did fire his own Tesla Roadster into space this week, prompting the question when people noticed that there's a fully functioning spacesuit sitting in the car. Did Elon Musk just commit the perfect murder?
Of himself or someone else? Was he actually seen at launch?
Someone else. Like, if you were going to do it, that's the time to do it. You can hide the body off planet.
Mr. Musk, I am a billionaire. I want to die. I have cancer. Here is $1 billion. Launch me into space. Okay. I want to do it in a car, a convertible.
Yeah, why not? And the screen, of course, does say, "Don't panic."
Yep.
Yeah.
I mean,
just like Matt Damon in The Martian.
It's not entirely out of the question, given that Elon Musk may be going insane.
Yeah.
Well, he did provide a battery for South Australia, which is one of the least populated areas of Australia. But yay.
But no, he's like, yeah, you want to fix this? Yeah, sure, I'll fix this for you. I'll make a flamethrower and I'll shoot a car into space.
That's a good point. Elon Musk did launch the Boring Company flamethrower last week, which has been met roundly around all the United States individual states with statewide bans.
It's all right. You can own an assault rifle, but you can't own a flamethrower.
That is absolutely correct.
I thought that come up on the Hacksmith notifications on YouTube. Was that from Elon Musk, was it?
It was the Boring Company flamethrower.
Oh, okay. All right. I need to read more.
All right. I think we shall we get back to it?
Yeah, let's get away from these.
Actually, no. You wanted to talk about some stuff before we go to bot shots, so please do put the camera back on yourself because I've inadvertently spoiled the winner.
You showed the image.
It's fine. Let's go with it. Let's go back to it, and we'll do yours.
You're going back to it?
Yeah, we'll go back to it. We'll do yours after.
All right. Go ski.
Right. Apologies for spoiling, but this week's bot shots winner is a good dose of revenge on last week's winner, Michael Vella, with from Mark Fender coming in early and going out early with this photo this week of Fort Max taking a photo of Metroplex and Windblade, and excellent photo, well done. He's pulled focus really well onto the phone. There's not much more to say about it. It's fantastic.
I'm glad you can see the image real clear in the phone. Looking at it on my phone today, you couldn't really see that detail. I'm like, is that Windblade on top of Metroplex? Like, trying to actually see the photo, but actually being on the big screen.
Pinch to zoom.
This is that sort of thing where you look at it and you think that it kind of has to be edited, but you can't actually see where it would have been. It just looks that good.
Rules of the competition are you may not edit the thing besides applying some light filters. So yes, good job, Mark. Getting revenge on last week's winner, Michael Vella, by coming out and just romping it in. This was about 16 votes to 5. I think 5 was the nearest place.
Swamped it.
Yeah, well done. Now, since this is one of the things that we've been doing on the podcast for a while, and we are actually this week we will actually be celebrating the podcast's 3rd birthday, Brad's taken a trip in time via wibbly wobbly timey-wimey technology, which is also known as looking up the first week's run sheet, and he's pulled out a few interesting factoids about what exactly was going on that first week of the podcast. Brad, tell us what we saw.
Ladies and gentlemen, February 13th was the release of our first podcast 3 years ago. So, yay, happy birthday to us. No candles, no cake, no balloons. We'll see what we can do next week. But looking at some of the news here, of course, this is the week of Nuremberg. Unfortunately, this week there isn't any news from Nuremberg. But back in that first week, we got our full images of Devastator, Titan's Return.
Was this the one with the dude standing in front of it?
Yes. And
excellent.
And we realised that he wasn't going to have a traditional Mixmaster leg. And G1 fanboys raged.
If by raged, you mean like grumbled slightly and then went out to Big W and bought it on sale anyway?
Yeah, fanboy rage anyway.
Yeah.
Wave 1 of Combiner Wars hit shelves, which would have been the Toy World $8 Legends and $19 Deluxes.
That is fantastic because Wave 1 of Power of the Primes has just hit shelves really this week around Australia as well, with them going into Target and Myer stores somewhere. I'm not sure that we've actually seen it in Kmart stores yet, despite them having had placeholder price tags for about 3 weeks now.
And
I think Kmart did. Kmart did get them, but Big W is the one that's left.
Right. Yeah, okay.
And we only commented a couple of weeks ago too about how Toywa was just getting Power of the Primes in, how excessive the prices were. So a 3-year swing there. We got to see some images of Toy World's Devil Star, which is their Astro Train. Chigurh.
You've got that one, don't you, Max?
The Devil Star. No, I do have the DX9 one on order though. So
DX9 Chigurh. whatever that Astrotrain is. We had a bit of a comparison between those two. Unique Toys Octane Provider, which is in my shell. Yep.
I think we all got that one.
Fans Toys Grenada, which was their bombshell. Actually, we've seen some images had a grey and purple chest versions, and we were like, why are there two versions again? Toy versus cartoon, you decide. Toybot World Throttlebots, I should say. Pre-orders for Expressway, Shinebug, and Sideblade went up. And the Toys R Us opened Wagga.
This has reminded me that, my God, we talked about a lot of shit in some of the earlier podcasts.
Yeah, yep. DX9 Invisible. We got to see an exclusive clear version.
Yeah,
some of this,
right.
But yeah, I got Red Alert.
Some of them have been consigned to the annals of history.
Yep. So, happy birthday, guys! 141 episodes, nearing the 150, which isn't too bad considering we're only 9 episodes. We've obviously missed over 3 years, so that's good.
Sounds good. Shall we get to some news?
Oh, might as well.
Today's top story.
Yeah, so now the news.
Today's once again thwarted Skeletor.
Today's news is a blast from the past that wasn't actually the past, but won't be the future, but is an interesting thing to look at nonetheless. We are looking at an image that now bears the tag of Pete's Robot Convention. Now, this image comes from Pete Sinclair, who is formerly of Fun Publications and BotCon. Now, we've seen the IDW style Orion Pax figure, which I can do this if you cut back to me.
I was going to ask if someone had it.
He's right in front of me here. We've seen this figure used a few times over the years. Most notably, not most notably perhaps, but very notably as a redeco as a Leo Kaiser. Now, maybe
same axis,
Kaiser, just a Leo Prime, but it was quite interesting. There's been rumors for a long time that this figure was actually destined to be something else as well. And rumor has it. Go on.
Yeah, there was a lot of people suggesting this guy or Thunderclash, and that
correct. There were a lot of people suggesting that it might be a cup, and it wouldn't be the first time that a Prime's toy has actually been doubled up as a cup or been a repaint of a cup. But this has finally been well, not really. The rumor hasn't been put to rest. The rumors have a file under it by Pete, who has revealed that the head was indeed the head was actually distributed at BotCon during the custom figures class, where it was actually I think it was for a Galvatron repaint of something. But the head does indeed go with this figure, and Pete's painted one up to sort of show how it was meant to look coming out of the custom class. And doesn't he look fantastic?
Yeah, it's been great to see. I mean, Pete's been doing a lot of these, like we showed the what would have been the exclusives for BotCon this year, well, last year, even hadn't been cancelled, and now we're seeing even more mainline stuff like this, which shows that this guy would have worked really well.
Yeah, he totally would have.
It is a damn shame. Like the thing is, I mean, sure, you can say this mold's going to work well as this character, and you can suggest repaints and what have you. But it's also just a matter of that's just a great figure to begin with. I don't know, a lot of people would have been more than happy to buy multiples of. So it's a shame that it didn't get its due.
Indeed.
And at this point too, the only one that came out beforehand was the Classics one that sort of had the third-party head with the cigar and that, but same sort of color. It'd be interesting to see what the official head would have looked like. This is obviously a fan-painted one, like the eyes being so standouty as they are.
So this one's been customed up by Pete himself.
Yeah. Which you can see the extra detail in it that I don't think an official one would actually have, but it looks fantastic.
Well, maybe it doesn't look it doesn't really look so far off what an official paint job would look like, I think.
No, that's it. Yeah.
But yeah, so yeah, it is nice to see more of what may have been. There was a post in the discussion group a few weeks ago about the BotCon figures that Max was referring to earlier as well. They looked pretty cool, but there was a lot of them as well. So I don't know how many of them really would have seen the light of day. But
I think the thing with BotCon figures is that they always end up doing a whole bunch of them like outside of a regular box set. There's just so few of them. Like, especially when you consider the custom classes and whatever you. Like, there's just a lot of figures which are easy to forget about.
So one of my this term does get thrown around a lot. One of my so-called Grail items is a BotCon custom class Minerva, because it's kind of like the last thing that I really need to collect of my animated line.
Yeah, no, but like, even when Unpub was selling off all the old exclusives, the custom class figures, just the unbuilt and unpainted ones, were way more expensive than anything else they had.
Oh yes, definitely. Yeah,
you're saying because there's some really good ideas in there. Like I think they had maybe Auto Trooper, Alba Convoy, all kinds of crazy stuff.
Yeah, I think it's a bit interesting. I don't know how genuine they are in presenting it and saying, "Oh, this is what the figures would have been," or if it was just sort of someone's slide deck going, "Can we do this?" So yeah, but yeah, there were some that were good ideas in there, and there were some that were sort of like, "Yeah, sure, whatever." Yeah. Anyway, let's move on. This is we're going to stop talking about what was, and what was or was not, but we're going to talk about what might be in the future. Now, there's been much made of the fact that Takara Tomy will be releasing Power of the Primes essentially unchanged from their original Hasbro forms in Japan. And there's a lot of people who really like Takara's Legends line. Max, I think you've got a couple of figures from the line.
Yeah, a lot of the IDW stuff is always, you can get it a little bit down the track. It always goes a bit cheaper.
Yeah, but the Legends line is usually quite collector friendly and cartoon accurate, and people are being concerned that might be coming to a bit of an end. So we've seen reports today from both Cybertron and TFW, and I've chosen the TFW one to show on screen. Because the Cybertron translation is really, really bad. But the Cybertron had a really poor machine translation of an article from I think it was a Hyper Hobby magazine, and TFW just has a quote, which says, with respect to the future of the TF Legends series, there is a description of a plan to continue series centered around the Takara Tomy Mall. And so that seems to suggest that rather than terminating the Legends line and just going with whatever Hasbro does, it looks like Takara might take the opportunity to do some exclusives in the line and distribute them themselves through their online store instead of them going out at retail.
Exclusives.
That is how you know your exclusive is exclusive.
Mm.
So it's actually, I think it's actually kind of interesting to see that both Hasbro and Takara are sort of doing, perhaps looking to do regional exclusives for their figures. I mean, Legends have always been fairly easy to get outside of Japan, but if they're only going to sell them through Takara Tomy Mall, that makes things a little bit more difficult to get a hold of. And I feel like if this is true, then a lot of people might be running off to the nearest freight forwarder and trying to figure out how they work.
Or just don't buy them.
Yeah, you try telling collectors not to buy Takara figures.
Don't.
I think it's going to come down to whether the specific nature of how the line's changing, like whether or not it's going to be regular, the same as the Hasbro releases for main line, and premium paint jobs as the Takara Tomy Mall exclusives. Whatever the case, I feel like if it is just regular Hasbro paint schemes across the board, then I think it's going to be people aren't going to be that into it. But if Takara is going to keep on going with their more premium paint jobs, then sure, I think there's going to be a market for the Takara Tomy Mall exclusives.
Well, that's going to be the big thing. If they decide to just do the equal sharing of mold and paint with Hasbro and not have any differences, and why would people go to Takara Tomy Mall to get the Takara versions when
So they're not saying that every single figure will be released as an exclusive redeco in Takara's Mall. They're just saying like a figure here and there.
But it's all part of the Legends line.
Well, maybe we don't know.
Yeah.
So look, I thought it was interesting. There was also a piece on tformers.com this week that I quite liked. In fact, when I say this week, I think it was like earlier this evening. Just positing what might actually become of the Generations line, because it seems like Power of the Primes may actually be quite short-lived as a Transformers toy line. We've got Wave 1 and 2 breakdowns. We don't really know. We haven't seen any new characters through to Wave 4 except for one figure. So we've got some information about Wave 3 and Wave 4, and we know that there's going to be a lot of figures repeated in those waves. So we also know that, and I didn't actually realize this until today, but we also know that Machinima is actually bringing their Power of the Primes feature out in May. So that's really rushing, and the Machinima animation usually comes in at around the end of the series.
Oh, you're talking about that show?
Yeah, that is the one.
Okay, so okay, all right. Back
so
to
just to finish, the idea is that what Generations may become after Power of the Primes finishes is it may actually finish up, because we're seeing the emergence of a lot of evergreen figures, or so-called evergreen figures in the line, and we're also seeing the studio series coming to the fore with all the movie figures. And so it's possible that Generations is either going to evolve into evergreen, or it will be branded as Generations.
Yeah, they seem to be, at least with the packaging mock-ups we saw earlier, it seems like they're keeping the same style of Deluxe and Voyager packaging. So I think there's a high chance that Generations could just become evergreen, and that would allow them to sort of move away from the centralized gimmick that they've had going on for the past couple of lines.
Yeah.
Now,
so besides the few original characters that we've actually got in Power of the Primes, like we're getting Blastoff dragged over from Takara's Unite Warriors line. There's we've got some combiners again, that maybe the combiners were sort of left over on the cutting room floor from Combiner Wars. It seems like Power of the Primes might just be a bit of a cleanup line.
Well, especially given that the gimmick of the line seem to be so heavily rooted in the technology that we saw in Combiner Wars. It seems to me like they're basically just going, okay, you know what? This is anything that we wanted to do for our previous two lines, but couldn't for whatever reason.
Yeah, we ran out.
And four waves would take us up till to winter for us, which is when Bumblebee is coming out. If they're going to launch the Bumblebee,
Predaking is going to come out at some point too. We hope still.
Yeah. Well, and we haven't mentioned it before. There's been nothing leaked from London Toy Fair or Nuremberg, so I still think we're only going to get the last the few waves of Power of the Primes. That's going to finish, and then we're going to go into the movie series, and that's all going to be through winter. We'll get Predaking at the very end of Power of the Primes as well, and that they'll do. Then the evergreen stuff will come in between.
That might see us through to when Cyberverse will arrive as well as the series.
Yeah, just filling in those gaps between major milestones. This year we got the B movie coming, and if Power of the Primes is going to start mid-year as well, then that's sort of another conclusion to the toy line before Cyberverse starts. So
yeah,
that's like we were talking today, Max, about you being disappointed about not seeing anything from Nuremberg. Well, I don't think there's that much we're going to see apart that we haven't seen already. Maybe one or two.
It's possible. It
one
might
or
be a short line.
They'll probably just have wave 3 and 4 of Power of the Prime stuff. Then we won't even see. We might see some.
We already know what is coming.
Yeah. There might not be that much down the barrel that we haven't seen already. So time will tell.
All right, enough bad news. Let's talk about something that's a little bit cool. I don't know if well, I know Brad, you didn't, but I don't know if you've read the G.I. Joe versus the Transformers comics from IDW. Max?
I think I ended up dropping them. It just sort of weren't my thing. There's some pretty good moments in there, though.
I'll be honest. I also did that, but there is still no like no really, Brad. It was actually, the thing is that the comic was legitimately loopy and a bit crazy, and there's a nice supporting cast of characters that Kid Robot is bringing out some vinyls of, and you can see them. You can see them in the TFW article that I've got on screen here.
Well, I believe your Loopian craziness since Megatron did become an Autobot, but I'll digress.
Not in the Transformers and G.I. Joe continuity. He did not.
Comics.
You realize there are multiple comics, right?
Yes, I do.
Good. None of these are loading, so I'm just gonna scroll.
Let's
over
go back to the group.
So, yeah, the group shot's fine. Off the top there. So yeah, I mean, look, it's pretty straightforward. It's I think it's actually kind of a bit of a licensing coup on IDW's part to be able to sell merchandise of their sort of fever dream of their Transformers versus G.I. Joe, because the comic was, like I said, a little bit crazy, but they are bringing out some keychains, some minifigures, pins. I think we've seen the pins before, and yeah, these vinyl figures. Now, if you look at them, they all look like they've got a fairly standard makeup to them. There's sort of a bit of a boxy chest. There's some specific attachments that go above the arms. So, like for Soundwave, he's got the cannon. Megatron's got nubs. Shockwave has antennas, and Prime has his smokestacks and stuff. And yeah, by and large, they capture the feel of the comic all right. So yeah.
Wow. Every torso, shoulder, groin.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they are all the same. Well, that's the point. That's the point. Like, these aren't all custom molded; they're custom painted. Well, there are some custom parts for them. Yeah. They're custom painted.
Yeah.
So, yeah,
there's some nice shadow and sort of paintwork on them, which is good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I guess the fact that they're all the same makes Grimlock the best by default.
It kind of does, actually.
Just
by that's accurate of Grimlock in general.
True.
Except for being smaller than everyone.
Also looks like it'd probably be a bit more, have at least some posability if the gaps in the parts assembly actually can move.
A little bit. I think they can generally move a little bit, and I think their arms can move up and down.
Yeah, it might be a sort of thing, like, I know with some stuff like little Japanese gashapon or whatever, where you plug it together and it's keyed in, the pieces are keyed in the shape, so you can't move it, just because that's what the license affords. Yeah. Like the license says you cannot make an action figure. So
you will not move more than 23 degrees, 23.7.
Starscream's blue face, is that a homage to?
I actually don't know, but it does look like he's got a cobra symbol on his face. Yeah.
I think it's just a thing from the comic. I mean, because there's also got stuff like Megatron's Tyrannosaurus Rex hand. Like, just, I guess this is all very comic specific stuff. Yeah. Soundwave's got a big giant gash down the side of his face.
Mm.
See, I saw that just as sort of a an indication of sort of like a, shininess or something, because he's got it on his feet. Prime's got it as well. I think it's just intended to be like the way the light shines off them.
Yeah, glint line or something.
Yeah, that's a good term for it. We should use that more often. Glint lines.
Yes, unlike Bumblebee, it looks like he's.
I think we spent way too long on these guys.
Yeah,
Bumblebee does look kind of weird.
He looks very scared of someone.
Bumblebee actually, I don't know. It looks like he's got a little bit too much makeup on.
Why did they touch me?
Yeah. So, Power of the Primes is coming out in Singapore with Wave 2 at the moment, and some erstwhile Singaporean Transformers fans have grabbed Wave 2 from retail in the last couple of days and put up some nice photos of them for comparisons and looks in. So here we can see the combined what's his Wave 2 version? Blackwing and Dreadwind.
Yeah, they combine, do they?
They do combine. Yeah, they form a big jet with combiner Transformers parts hanging off them.
I really hope this can have that Blackwing head fold away to some extent, other than just sitting on top of the vehicle mode.
Yeah, let's have a look at Blackwing though. There he is, complete with Batman mask and all. In fact, both of the figures do have some sort of masky faces, don't they?
Yeah, it's very G1 stuff. Like these two, they're a really big deal in the G1 comics for a while, as they were just the go-to Decepticon thugs for whoever was in charge at the time to boss around and then get beaten up. And these guys do just look like a couple of thuggish beat 'em up kind of guys. So it really capture that spirit well.
Yeah, it's interesting. They've got very exposed combiner connectors in their chests as well.
Yeah, they definitely got the lower end of the budget for hiding combiner pegs. and some Larry colours too. Like they got some paint on them.
The colours are awesome. Yeah,
that is way up there with all that sort of late G1 stuff.
Yeah, but it's just good to see. Like, fair enough, most of it's probably molded plastic and not actually paint, but just the color variations look fantastic for bots that are pretty much identical.
I actually think it's quite interesting. Like we've seen these identical sets that are the same but different quite a bit the last couple of years, and so looking at I think the clones, like the Autobot and Decepticon clones from Titan's Return, that probably the most recent example. But these guys are very similar in their, you can see the chest design. There's a lot of similarities. Like if you look at a detail of one part on one bot and then look over to that same part of the other, you'll often see that detail repeated. Like they've got the same knee pads. There's the same foot design. The arm designs are almost identical as well. The shoulders are different but still quite similar. And we called out their masks on their faces as well earlier. But I actually think it's quite ingenious how much of the mold they can actually reuse between the two of them and have them combined together in different positions.
Yeah, it is a good idea. I'd be interested to see how that locks together. I mean, I don't mind these two looking similar too much just because they are brothers in the comics, so it doesn't look out of place.
Yeah, I think it looks all right. Let's scroll on down. There's the underside shot of one of the Dinobots for you, Brad.
That would be Sludge. Yeah. Good, I can pass.
There we go. There's the money shot for the for Sludge's Dino mode there, and you can see the clear, transparent plastic very clearly on this at the moment. And being the Singapore group, they've taken a photo from all angles. His face looks a little bit distressed there.
That's because he's a deluxe and not a Voyager. I'll be upset too.
Obviously, he's sad. And here we go. Here's Snarl, and let's look for his robot mode there. Oh, actually, no, let's have a look at his Dino mode there. So no real surprises there. We've seen that sort of clear plastic treatment on his face again, and on the top of his rear legs. These guys really needed to be chromed or gold, didn't they?
I just wonder the amount of money I spent chroming Age of Extinction Leader Prime. Why?
Age of Extinction lived and the Dinobots must die.
Yeah.
Well, no, you see, we all said to Hasbro, no, we hated that Prime. So I said, okay, well, we won't put chrome where you're actually going to want it then.
What? You love that Prime?
It wasn't the paint problem. It was the mold. I love how they haven't taken the plastic off his chest either. He's still got that plastic tie around there to keep his front on.
I thought that was a molded piece.
No, look, it goes around his neck.
Oh, yeah,
the Prime Master's there, so the Prime Master doesn't fall out, so that's a loose joint.
Or no one's noticed when they took it out of the box.
Also frowny face.
I was wondering what this guy was doing in here in this photo, and now I see. So that was Ripper Snapper, I think. So here's Moon Racer. Again with the underside shot and the rear shot of the car. Now there's the vehicle mode, which looks actually quite complicated and quite long.
For a cup redo? This is a cup. Oh, God.
This is a brand new mold.
This is a brand new mold, and wow.
Back away, not today, disco later.
Jesus, I mean, how is that thing even standing is what I want to know.
There's a
I think this is why she's holding the gun to counterbalance the backpack.
I mean, like, Moonracer is it. I feel like for the most part, Moonracer is such a simplistic design, right? And the length of the vehicle mode would mean that surely you could cut off some of that and not have such an egregious backpack.
It is that whole back white bit.
It's just a big cube hanging off the back of a figure. And it's not even like panels that are something like on Sludge where they wrap around or, where it can form armor or something. No, it's just a big, massive stuff hanging off the back.
I think we can agree it's a bit weird. And
it looks good from the front.
If you're wondering, but yeah, it looks good from the front. But if you're wondering just how prominent it is in the box, just so if you pick this up, you can look at it and just go, oh, no, what's that? So you can see it in the box there too. Now, are we looking at Ripper Snapper?
Yes, we are.
Yes, Ripper Snapper is, I think, is he the only con in this? Blackwing and Ripper Snapper, the only cons in this deluxe series. So yeah, he's in his weird Terracon sea monster mode.
Land shark thing.
Land shark. Land shark.
Yeah,
did you say land shark or bland shark?
Land shark.
I think the latter one applies.
This is far from a bland shark. Look, this shark is the opposite of bland. It has guns on its shoulders, man.
Fair enough. He doesn't have a freaking laser beam attached to his head, does he?
Not yet. That's in part 2.
Yes. So he seems a little bit more stable on his feet, although notably they have leaned him forward.
He is definitely doing the forward chicken.
He is, isn't he?
Yeah, it's a bit worrying.
He's got a pretty good looking robot mode as well.
Yeah, I mean, he looks like, on the one hand, he looks exactly like most other Combiner Wars figures, but on the other hand, he looks spot on to what you remember Whipper Snapper as being. So
yeah, I agree. Yeah,
can't really complain.
He actually does look like he's got quite a lot of paint on him too.
Especially in that chest area.
Yeah, there's details on the knees, the chest and the abs, and let's just go with it, the crotch. There's a lot of paint on there.
Yeah. Plus his Wolverine claws. Whoa.
Yeah, true. Yeah. So yeah, look, this is being that we've just got Wave 1 in Australia. This is what we've got coming to us in probably about 3 years' time. Once the Australian retailers have cleared their shelves of Wave 1, they'll go looking for more.
And Age of Extinction.
Yeah. No, they've got to clear these and Age of Extinction. So yeah, I thought it was an interesting chance to take a look at what's coming in a few months' time, given that Singapore does appear to be quite ahead of us. Now that's why this photo of Computron was in here, because there's Ripper Snapper.
I am incredibly excited.
Has he got a rub sign on his head?
It does look like a rub sign on his head.
I don't know. It does. It seems to be a different color to what it was in one of the other pictures. Like, that's more of a blue, whereas it looked more purple. Scroll down a bit.
Oh no, his fins on. Oh, there you go.
Yes, it's purple there, but
the rub signs do change.
We haven't heard anything about rub signs.
Yeah, but if they've got
fade to it as well.
If they've got lamps on, that's going to generate heat, which would bring it up.
True. Let's have a quick look at some of the others and see if we can see any rub signs on them. No.
Nope.
Maybe that's going to be the Terracon's gimmicks.
Yeah, I mean, Terracons, I guess, were later G1, and rub signs, I think, were later G1. So maybe
rub signs were G1 all the time.
Yeah. Guess what? This is going to be later out of the Prime, so you have to get the very last wave, which will be very exclusive, just to get the rub sign bots.
Yeah. It's also possible that whoever took the photo put the rub sign on there. So yeah.
Yeah, possibly.
All right.
Look at you.
Indeed. All right, let's move on to another combiner of a different sort. Zeta Toys is getting their Bruticus combiner out there, and they have revealed new images of Blitzkrieg, which is their version of Masterpiece Scale G1 Onslaught. Now, these are looking pretty final.
That is a big gun.
Yeah,
you know
that
where
gun is just
diabolical.
Yeah, that is just awesome. The truck mode does look fantastic.
They've taken 2 photographs from like 1 degree different angle, but sure. Oh, he's got
the extended ramps.
Yeah, the ramp and everything.
Yeah. So they can drive the
kind
tank.
of a nice feature.
Yeah, they can drive the Brawl and that onto the back of him.
And Swindle, apparently.
Yep.
I liked someone in the discussion group pointed out this afternoon that the 5mm portholes in Swindle's windscreen they make it look like a character from Cars.
I was about to mention that, the fact that someone's doing a underground check.
Do you reckon this is actually like Meta's alt mode?
We're right up in the rear tailpipe.
We're just backing up onto Onslaught now. So yeah, and there he apparently is hauling the rest of his body.
Yeah, that's the issue here, right? So we've got this great looking Onslaught, and then pretty much the entirety of Bruticus is this lump that apparently turns into a battle station.
Yeah, that's kind of weird.
Incredibly G1 accurate, and I have no problem with that whatsoever.
Yeah. But
again, who's going to have this in alt modes like this? Who's going to have that displayed like that?
You make it convincing.
You want to actually be able to enjoy, taking it between the 3 different modes, and I don't think you're going to get that much enjoyment when most of the combiner is just this massive, great lump.
You'll enjoy pegging everything to it. It's fine.
The thing is, this is happening, right, with some of the most just ridiculous parts forming. While
speaking of ridiculous parts forming, that's a foot
launch pad.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, that
has anyone got
the feet
any
have
of the
always
Omegas
been separate pieces?
Has anyone got any of the Omegas?
Do you mean the Fans Toys one?
Well, any Gabriel, whatever.
No.
I think there's
no.
Okay, because they're that's the ultimate of parts forming. But I don't know.
Apparently, DX9 did a lot to make theirs not actually into parts form.
This is just kind of weird and a bit lazy, I think.
Yeah, it's just so obviously below a torso of a robot.
Yeah, no, there's like that's just like he's just spread eagled.
But again, they've had to decide on something to do with the other modes, and
I'm bored of this now. I see that they've really tried to sort of increase the play value of that torso by making everything link up to it, but maybe they could have just made everything link up to it in robot mode to form Bruticus.
Yeah, it only works if Blast Off is on there.
Well, it makes but then go back up. Like, when this bot come out, I was commenting that he's got all those legs and hips. He doesn't need the shit coming off the back of the truck mode, but he's got all that coming off the back of the truck mode, just like the Warbatron one. So I don't know where all that goes. If that just folds up on the back and it becomes a backpack, then that's I get where you're coming from.
Yeah. So interesting. So in terms of what's been revealed so far, well, the whole thing is right there now, and
but I don't think we've seen Brawl yet or Swindle in full modes.
Not full detail of them. No. We have
Swindle's
seen Vortex.
I think.
Yeah,
Swindle just released, and then
I think Swindle is just
we're waiting on Brawl.
Mm-hmm. So he does look pretty good put together, but that's basically like 5 bots and a massive piece of plastic that adds onto them.
As a Bruticus?
Well, the thing is, you have a massive chunk of a combiner completely separate like that, and you imagine that the individual limbs would all be perfect because they don't have to worry too much about the combining gimmick. but it just makes it so much harder to overlook the flaws on, especially Blast-Off and Vortex. And we talked about a fair while ago.
Check out the face on Swindle in that one there. Yep, lie.
I'm going for a ride.
That's gonna be the first third-party upgrade. It's just gonna be something to fill those holes in alt mode. Yeah, cool. I don't care. Does anyone care? Is anyone going to buy this?
No.
I'll wait. If there's a if there's a KO of it, I will. But I'm keeping Warbitron.
I've already got the Jinbao KO Bruticus. I don't really know.
Same.
You just need to like knock off Bruticus.
Yeah. This is a better Bruticus than that one. But
look, the Jinbao Bruticus is appreciably shit in a number of ways.
Yeah.
Sure.
I'm talking about if this gets a KO and it's around the same price as that, I'll be changing them out.
So, who played Fall of Cybertron?
Yay!
I played Fall of Cybertron.
I did not play. I did not play Fall of Cybertron.
It's so good.
You guys will recognize these guys then.
I want to see them in color. I really do.
Fall of Cybertron Insecticons are coming from Planet X. We are looking at Morpheus Phobator, who does sound like a rejected character name from Friends, and Phantasis. In fact, all of them sound like rejected Friends. These guys are based on the Insecticons as they appeared in Fall of Cybertron, and they do look appreciably detailed, and they look pretty nice. Now, only one of the Fall of Cybertron Insecticons was actually ever released by Hasbro, right?
Kickback. Yeah, we just did Kickback, which is a really odd choice. Like, given he basically did the least in the game, it seemed like an odd choice to make him a sole figure. Yeah.
So, look, we are expecting to see more on these, obviously, given that we're looking at prototypes at the moment. But they do look pretty good. I, as someone who didn't play the game, kind of don't care. But you guys went absolutely nuts when these came up. So, like, I assume that you're going to be ordering them.
Oh, don't worry. As soon as the color versions come out, we'll be talking about them again. But I've really neglected my Fall of Cybertron collection. I got Kalis when it came out, and I haven't got any of the Dinobots since. And the third party, the Planet X stuff, I really haven't got. So that's definitely going to be a goal for 2018. There's nothing in Power of the Primes I'm looking at buying, so I'll be looking at this. I want to get Planet X up there, back in the shelf.
So the colors and the alt modes, I dare say, are going to make or break these?
Alt modes don't care.
You just don't care, you're just going to order them anyway. Yeah, fair enough.
I mean, to me, it feels like weird for me because I friggin' love both this and War for Cybertron. Like, they're two of my favorite games ever, and I've just never really been that into getting the higher end figures of them. Like, I've got, I think the original War for Cybertron released figures, and that's enough for me. Like, Hasbro did a really good job with what they did. And so, like, sure, I'd love to get some of an expanded cast, but Planet X is just doing so many of them that it would, you'd be tempted to collect them all, and it's just not a thing you've got space for.
Sort of wonder if Planet X is sort of carving out their Fall of Cybertron niche the way MMC's carved out their IDW niche.
Yeah, but that's why you sort of focus. Don't worry about Get Vulcan. The Grimlock was good enough, even though it's smaller, but the rest of the Dinobots are definitely great standards and look good beside the Fall of Cybertron Grimlock.
Yeah,
and it's crazy that they've been at Planet X haven't branched off at all. Like, they've maintained that they're doing the same style of figure for as long as they've existed, and they've become one of the biggest third-party companies. And even when you have people like Second Chance Toys who tried to jump in on the FOC market, they just couldn't compete at all, and they died within the space of like 2 releases.
Accurate. All right, let's move on. It is time to start the Cliffjumper Wars with the lovely named Mr. Moon, who appear to deliver things by fax only. So Mr. Moon has a Legend scale cliffjumper is about 4 inches tall. It's their first release, I believe, and yeah, he looks all right for a
it's great right for
a 4-inch figure.
It was really close. We'll get some nice accessories on there.
He does have quite a lot of options on there for moving him around and posing him. I'm less taken with his feet, but
yeah, they look a bit chunky.
To speak of.
I think his feet just sort of show that Cliffjumper always wanted to be a little bit taller, and now he's gone out and bought his platform shoes.
Also, if you scroll down, that alt mode is just adorable. It's a little squat plump of a vehicle. It's great.
Oh my god!
Okay.
So, I might have to buy it just for that. It's just
really like
so that small.
Yeah. Okay.
Suddenly, the feet make sense.
Yeah. Unfortunately, yeah. Yeah. No, I don't really like that at all.
Well, for alt mode.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, no, it's not good. That's the thing. It's not a good alt mode. It doesn't look like Cliffjumper should look. We'll get to that in a sec, but that's why I love it. It's because it's ridiculous.
We're gonna get to how Cliffjumper should look in a sec by jumping over to the Ocular Max Hell Lion, are we?
Yeah.
Suppose we might as well.
There he is, Ocular Max Hell Lion. I think it's actually quite interesting. Some of the similarities between this guy and some of the figures that have already been released that sort of a masterpiece style Cliffjumper as well. But,
cute to you.
Yeah, cute to me. Well, actually, let's just stick with this for a minute, and we'll have a look at Hell Lion for a minute. So there's his sort of like squat deformed Porsche mode, and he's got
actually looks a lot more sporty than you usually get with Cliffjumper figures.
Yeah, that is true. Although you can still see the sort of the squatness in there. Bit of a design flair, I think, making that rear window black, a black outline. I'm not sure that that's normally done on Cliffjumper.
It breaks up the red a little bit though, but
it does. Yeah, it does. Ocular Max doesn't always. Ocular Max doesn't always follow what you would expect with sort of G1 designs and stuff, but they do surprise in other ways. I actually quite like his hubcap design, and he's got a fairly detailed interior. But like, let's be honest, to me the interior sort of looks like someone's just gone, there should be a gear stick, just put it there somewhere. And there's a steering wheel as well. Like, it does not look like they've really paid much attention to what would be going on inside that car.
Yeah, the thing is, like, companies do this, and I wonder if anyone actually cares.
Yeah. I don't know if anyone cares or if anyone actually is like paying attention to the detail of it, but yeah. But he's also got that little gun on the bonnet, which is quite cool. So on this occasion, with looking at a couple of different masterpieces, I thought it was well, not masterpieces actually, but just a couple of different Cliffjumpers. Thought it was worth remembering that this guy exists, and Ace Toys Tumbler has the dubious dubious distinction of being the first masterpiece style Cliffjumper. I think he's got a bad rap from some QC issues that he had at release, but I think he's done pretty well. Like, if you look at I think there's a good waist swivel. He can sort of tilt forward and back, and he's got decent articulation in his legs, and his feet are made of die-cast metal on the carbon as well. So he's very bottom heavy, which means like he's going to stand up no matter what you do. You can probably even balance in doing that. I don't know, but he's I think Tumbler might be better than many of us remember, and also his head does swivel 360 degrees, just in case you do want to reenact Poltergeist or The Exorcist. I kind of feel like this guy might be better than we remember, and as we look at some of the Cliffjumpers that have been revealed this week, let's take a look at the waist on the waist on Ocular Max's guy there. Like,
there's two of them.
There's two waists?
Yeah, it looks like he's got one waist stacked on top of another.
Oh, right. Yes. Yeah, you're right there. Whereas, like Tumbler sort of has a much more sort of traditional bot style crotch piece, and the ball joints are. I guess the ball joints are exposed on Tumblr, so it's perhaps a little bit less desirable than having the flaps cover them up. But I don't know. Personally, and this has already had me removed from a chat once for saying it this week, but I'm kind of happy with Tumblr. Like his head's a little bit loose, and like he's fine. Really, he's fine.
It come with those great little display cases too that he come boxed in.
This is true, but you can't buy a figure simply because of the packaging and like judge it to be better than everything else, right? Like the figure does have to be good in its own accord. Let's be honest, Tumblr has issues, but I'm not really looking to replace him anytime soon.
Yeah. Like the only thing this thing's going for it maybe is the chest isn't as large. It's sort of more angular down towards the hips, but apart from that, it's a cliff jumper / bumblebee. So
yeah, the other thing, of course, is that if you just cut back to me for a second, let me just place this. So
it's BFG.
Tumblr does come with a big fuck off gun. So there's his don't mess with me pose, huh? Yeah.
I've got Megatron in my optics.
And of course, if he does start, if his joints do get loose, then you can just use it as a walking stick. So, like, now that I've got him out, like, I might photograph him tomorrow or something. We'll see how I go. Let's cut back.
He's an imperfect figure, but not necessarily a bad one.
Yeah, he's got flaws. Like, what figure hasn't got flaws? I think it's all right.
Plus, it's $60 too. So,
yeah, right. Well, so like Masterpiece Bumblebee,
was
as well.
Yeah.
Ace Toys has been pretty quiet for a while. In fact, I think the last thing they did was a sea spray, wasn't it?
Yes.
Seems like they were leaning towards some mini-bot sort of stuff, and then they dropped off the face of the earth.
Yeah, we might have to hit them up on Facebook and see what they've got planned. We'll see. The last time I messaged them, they took about 3 months to respond. So hopefully we'll have some news from Ace Toys by the time the podcast turns 4.
Good sign.
Yeah, all right. Let's go to our last story for the night. If you want to just flip the screen share back on.
Copy.
This one I believe might be an Australian exclusive. Peter Alexander has a few Transformers pajamas coming out this season, and so there's some long sleeve tees, there's pants, there's boxers, there's tees for the youngers, there's nighties and boxers and more boxers. So you can now finally ask people, is that an Optimus Prime in your pocket, or are you just pleased to see me?
It could be both.
Indeed, it could. Actually, it's
been some times.
Well, the PJ pants are not actually shown in any great detail there, but like there are Peter Alexander stores all over the place. So yeah, see if you can spot these anyway.
Yeah, because it's been some time since Kmart released. Last time we had the Soundwave, then we had the Autobot singlets, and that was where Kmart's Transformer love ended.
Yeah, I actually wonder whether or not they might end up in Cotton On, because Typo's had a lot of Transformers merchandise recently.
Yeah.
Yeah,
so I'm going to have a look around.
I need to go back to Typo and get that Energon Supply water bottle.
Yeah, because Target had a lot of sort of comic inspired art for kids' clothing.
Yeah,
they come out, and I brought some t-shirts for the young fella, but there was nothing
really
in a top size. Oh fuck! I was going to get through one of them.
I think it's one of the tropes of the podcast now. So
yeah, I'm sure there's a soundbite of it somewhere.
I think there's 141 of them.
True.
Yeah. So PJ's everywhere.
I wasn't going to say it, but he seems a little bit old to be wearing pajamas.
They are men's Transformers PJs.
Okay.
Hey. So yeah, there's the Bumblebee long sleeve tee.
We have some members in Tasmania. I'm sure it gets cold down there in winter.
You know there's going to be a bunch of pajamas shots on the group this year, right?
Pajama Mondays.
Yeah. So yeah.
Iron Man? No.
Actually, yeah, she does seem to be doing a bit of an Iron Man pose, or stop! Don't come near me with that. Which is
I don't know if that's a sleeveless tee or what that is.
I'm trying to figure out
like
which
smock.
Mouse wheel scrolls. Yeah, so she saying, stop! Don't come near me with that. You must be wearing the Autobot and Decepticon ones. I actually quite like the typo slippers that have got the Autobot and Decepticon logo on it that says I'm having an identity crisis. It's quite cool.
There's a lot of neat little bits on here. Like I like that the boxes are using art just straight out of the first couple issues of the comic.
Yeah. Not entirely sure if it's really appropriate, that artwork being where it is, but whatever.
What, Prime looking down on a little boy?
Maybe. I also don't know what's on the back, but yeah.
Jetpack.
Maybe the jetpack stuff should be on the back. Actually,
are those first issues a retelling of Morn Meets the Eye? Or is it
the first issues basically run more or less the same as the original cartoon?
But then they start bringing in Spider-Man and stuff like that.
Yeah, Spider-Man's in like issue 3. It's actually a really good issue. It becomes really good mates with Gears. It's good.
No, so this is the thing, right? Back in the days of Marvel doing Transformers, like they'd try to sort of cross-pollinate their characters to sort of get people. Oh, I like Spider-Man. I'm going to buy Transformers. Oh, that's pretty good. I'll keep buying it.
Yeah. Although that blue looks a lot Magnus-y. Was that from the original, or is it just they didn't have enough blue in the print?
I think it's just shit coloring.
Yeah.
Like
mass production
in the original comics, you literally cannot tell. Thundercracker and Starscream Thundercracker and Skywarp are so poorly colored, but the first time that you can concretely tell which one is which is when they die.
Or episode 2, like the cartoon.
All right, I think we're done.
Soundboard staying off.
News is done. It's time to talk about Transformers. Some new acquisitions. Max, you've got a Transformer this week. I have a Transformer this week. Brad, you do not.
I've just committed 10 months to $2,500 worth of statues and busts. So,
oh my god,
I'm probably not going to be buying any Transformers anytime soon.
What did you buy?
Please tell me about
Hey?
Tell us the Transformers ones at least.
No, they're not.
What are they from?
Is this why you just left the statue news blank in the run sheet tonight, just hoping someone might put something in there?
Oh, no, well, I was waiting when you said you were going to add some stuff to the run sheet. I thought that Devastator was going to come back in, but I've been ignoring that.
We might need to not talk about statue news anymore, just to try and wane you off of it.
Well, I also think because Brad didn't buy any Transformers statues, despite pledging that he's going to every week, I think we need to just not talk about statues anymore.
Yeah. Well, that's it. I've spent, going to spend over $2,000 on statues that aren't Transformers. So,
what are they from?
Jurassic Park. I've got a one Raptor bust coming.
You didn't order it from the same guy off eBay, did you?
Same guy as no. No, trust me. If this thing turned up bubble wrapped in pieces, I'd have kittens. But,
fair enough. All right, so no Transformers for Brad for quite a while. He will be summarily punished. Max,
I'm going to remove my name from the run sheet.
What have you got? Do you want to just switch over to Max, Brad, and let's have a look at what Max has got.
So
he's definitely got something I'm interested in seeing.
Yeah, so this is Open and Play's Big Cannon. Which is their sort of take on a masterpiece style Galvatron.
You're saying masterpiece, but
so let me put it this way: it's marketed as a masterpiece Galvatron, and typically a figure marketed like that of this scale would run you about $150. So let's say but it does cost that much. But it's not very good because it doesn't really transform that much. Waist is kind of limited, and the legs are a straight up knockoff of the Titan's Return version.
And he also can't see left or right.
I mean, because of these?
Yeah.
Oh, isn't that just a universal problem for Galvatron, though?
Yeah, no, it is. Yeah.
But here's the thing. This guy cost $45.
He's less than the price of a Voyager.
Yeah, so... and because of that, I can't do anything other than just completely overlook the flaws and say that he's perfect. Because $45 makes this figure literally perfect. It's the most insane value for money that you can get for any figure right about now. Like,
so since he's basically an oversized knockoff of Titan's Return Galvatron without the stupid head, that instantly makes him better value than a Titan's Return Galvatron.
Wait, especially because he costs less than retail for Titan's Return Galvatron.
Like, Brad, what are you doing there?
Max,
buying statues.
When we talk about masterpiece masterpiece representations of characters, does yours have knees?
What do you mean? He does. He's got lovely clickety knees.
Oh, I've got one click.
Oh, Brad, yours does have knees.
That didn't sound like a ratchet joint. That sounded like plastic crunching.
I've used a very poor example here.
Brad has just discovered that G1 Galvatron had knees all along.
It is not a brick.
Brad just throw his G1 Galvatron on the floor?
I believe he did.
It hit the table first.
I'm sure that makes everything better.
You know that's not better, right?
He's got die cast. I'm sure it's fine.
Don't throw big cannon on the floor.
Why? It's like he's safe. He's solid. He's like the plastic is on par with your Hasbro retail figures, right? Like, so the plastic feels on par or better than anything that you buy at retail. But the actual build quality, like how well it holds together, I'd say is up there with the best MMC stuff. Like
we've seen some people have their figures fall off shelves recently, and shoulders have come apart.
What of this guy?
No, Combinables or other retail stuff. Saying he's on par with retail.
You know what? You know what? I'm gonna get him.
Yeah,
the big cannon.
Yep.
It's just so cheap, and if you don't, it is masterpiece scale, but it also just feels like a really high quality leader class figure. That's also about half the price of a retail leader class figure. You just can't go wrong with this guy.
Yeah, at no point does masterpiece scale need to have $200 engineering points or plastic quality or die cast.
Well, but if you talk about scale, then sure, that's just a size. But like masterpiece style stuff does have to have a little bit cleverer engineering than just like a lump of plastic.
In robot mode, he looks masterpiece style, but in alt mode, he's far from it because the cannon's just a lump. It doesn't the shapes are all a bit off. But just a robot mode Galvatron.
Fair enough. Yeah.
Just a robot mode Galvatron. He looks perfect. He just fits right into the masterpieces. And sure, the plastic quality and the overall build isn't as good, but as long as he's sitting on the shelf, he looks right at home.
Yeah. I think he looks fine. I'm going to get him and go and hide my Titan's Return Galvatron, probably.
That's a perfect stand-in.
I'm not ashamed of him.
Yeah, perfect stand-in for when Hasbro or Takara finally decide to do theirs.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Whenever that comes.
It'll be around at some point.
And then even when they do, just put it in alt mode and have it sitting there on the shelf and leave your masterpiece one in bot mode. Or vice versa, whatever looks better.
It feels like a high quality leader class figure. So you just throw it in the rest of your chug stuff. It works. It's just an all around really nice figure that can fit in.
All right. Open play, big cannon. Nice procurement. Nice procurement. I've picked up one bot in my travels in the last week, and she is Transformers animated Black Arachnia, and I love her. She's great. She's really good. I'm fairly sure I've got her somewhere in my animated collection in a box in Melbourne somewhere, but picked her up for a very cheap price at a essentially a yard sale last week, and yeah, pretty happy with her. Had forgotten just quite how good she looks, and it's been a while since I've looked at an animated toy that I'm not really familiar with. So yeah, it's just good to sort of just move her joints around and just see what kind of a pose she can strike. So yeah, she does have tiny feet like some animated characters. So,
that is the thing.
You do have to be. You do sort of have to be careful where you place her, but she's not that hard to stand.
Yeah, I appreciate the ankles. I just wish they were a little bit bigger. But having the toes being able to move, you can sort of get it the pose right. And just looking at that figure, just what they've done to that to make it the Generations Black Arachnia, just some of the stuff they've done there was fantastic.
Yeah, very impressive. So that is it. That's it for new acquisitions. None of us have really acquired that much this week, but you can. If you sign up to be a member of Transformers Collectors Club Australia, you can get some club merchandise, some stubby holders, Autobot and Decepticon car stickers, and do you still have the exclusive trading cards available, Brad, or are they sold out?
No, we sure do. We got the Shockwave, and Ultra Magnus collector cards to go with the current release. So
fantastic. Yep. So if you want to join up and be a member of Transformers Collectors Club Australia, you can find the information on our website. That's transformerscca.com. Memberships run financial years, so we are coming up to the end of this financial year, and you can sign up for next year as well. Memberships just start at just $5.
Mm-hmm.
All right,
and it is well worth it.
It is well worth it. We get out there and we get tables at conventions, and we try to connect like-minded fans around the country. And I think the fact that we've got a relatively trouble-free discussion group going on Facebook for everyone is testament to that success.
Yeah, and good work, Max. Supernova TV just posted this week of some interviews they done at Adelaide Supernova, and Max, you got to represent the club there last year and got interviewed by the MC of Supernova, which was great to see.
Yeah, I was really happy that you got to do that, and sort of just came out the other day, and I feel like it turned out all right. I'm thankful for Supernova to coming around and giving us the opportunity to sort of spruik a bit.
Yeah, excellent. Yeah. It happens at some of the conventions. I haven't usually seen Supernova do it very much, but I've seen. I think when we're at Bendigo, I think it was. I saw the MC came around with some cameras and microphones to all the stands and had a bit of a chat to us. So yeah, it's always cool. It's always a bit of fun to do them.
And last year we got to have a good chat with him at Melbourne, off camera of course, and up at Gold Coast we actually sold him a world's smallest Frost. So
he always ends up buying our stuff as well.
Yeah, he's seen and gone, oh, I really like that, and come back 20 minutes later and gone, oh, it's still here. I'll take it.
Yeah, no, it's a sign, right?
Yeah. So, no, it's just good. It's good being involved.
All right. And with that bombshell, it is the end of the podcast for tonight and or today, if you are not listening at nighttime. If you are listening along, thank you. And if you're watching along with the live record, thanks. I don't know if anyone is. It's pretty late on a Friday night. You'll find more about these stories and links to them all in the show notes in your podcatcher of choice or on the website, which is transformersweekly.com.
Over your left shoulder.
Yes. Andy is Phoenix. Phoenix. Yes, it's all right. There we go.
Bang.
We'll see. He's So I've had crap all over the floor in here for the last couple of weeks. So he's enjoying the fact that he can now walk around. And he does like sitting on that table as well. So, yeah. Anyway, find out more about these stories in the show notes on the website, transformersweekly.podbean.com. The Facebook page is Australian Transformers Weekly. And we are, of course, all in the Transformers Collectors Club Australia group on Facebook. And for some reason, the camera appears to be locked to Brad now. That's a bit weird.
Sorry.
If you're not already subscribed, come subscribe to us on iTunes, Pocket Cast, YouTube, or other podcatchers of choice and distinction. And if you can't find us on any of those services, the RSS feed is in the show notes. You can also check out Transformers Legends on the YouTube channel. I cover a few stories aimed at younger, more discerning younger Transformers fans than we talk about in the grown-up show. And of course, we've already spruiked the club, so do find out more about us and what we do at transformerscci.com. So thank you for listening. We will be back with episode 142 with all the news and views that are fit for, I don't know, listening to on Transformers everywhere, right here on TCCA's YouTube channel and Australian Transformers Weekly. Thanks for listening. Bye-bye.
Lovely. Thanks, guys.